Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. Today I have another Help with Harrz episode where we're going to be looking at a Rio Hardpoint gameplay from a Platinum player who wants to sort of finesse their gunfight techniques as well as strategy, plus anything else I sort of notice when I'm, reviewing the gameplay. The gameplay's been submitted by Gravy. We're going to have a look at the format just here. They've been submitted by Gravy Train, who is a channel subscriber and channel member as well. And yeah, we're going to read through the form, look through the gameplay, and then have a little bit of a conclusion at the end where we give some key tips I want them to try and take away with and focus on those before moving on to the other things. And yeah, a predicted rank I should see them hitting by the time MW3 leaves, or maybe perhaps when Black Ops 6 starts up. So we're going to kick off the form as I said. So we're playing Gravy. They're on a new gen console, current rank Plat 1. Their highest rank in MW3 so far is Plat 3. They play on a 4-4 with a 0.9 gradual sensitivity. Not sure what the gradual means. Dynamic linear. I think, if I'm honest, if it's a setting I think it is, it should be instant. Gradual is something that throws a lot of people off. But 4-4, it's a little bit of a low sense. I don't really mind it. I think gradual is the sensitivity when it ADSs and how gradual it sort of goes from ADS sense to non-ADS sense. And you really want that to be instant just for consistency. You then play dynamic. Or linear, I'm not really sure, but yeah, settings seem okay-ish. It's a little bit slow on the sensitivity side. What I'm going to do, because I don't feel like these settings are probably going to be the best for you, is drop a link down in the description of the settings I use in the game. And obviously sensitivities and stuff like that is going to be personal choice, but these settings, other than the literal sensitivity number and ADS sensitivity number and dead zones, are going to be something you're going to want to try and use. FAV is 100. Obviously, yes, they're a channel member, so they get a little bit of a bump up the ladder. And then what do they want me to focus on? So this was a better gameplay when I thought that's fine. I'd like to focus on my strategy, winning more gunfights and gunfight techniques, and my movement in games. That's fine. Movement's a little bit hard, but we're going to be focusing on these things anyway. I struggle with always switching up settings and gun loadouts being OCD finding the best setup. Often will play pretty well and rank up SR decently, and I just begin to feel off and can't win gunfights. I'm always trapped or just getting shredded. I don't know if I just need an extended break or other than a few minutes. I think I get lost in the gameplay and eagerness of winning to lose fundamentals. Also hate how I can aim perfectly and then I can't for shit. So that's all going to be because you're switching up settings a lot. So which is why I'm going to, as I say, put my settings down in the description down below for you to check them out. And you've got to stick with it. That's my #1 rule. Pick a setting you're comfortable with initially and stick with it. Otherwise, you're going to be having to re-improve every single time you change your settings. Now, they sent a couple of forms in. The gameplay I've picked out of these forms are the only one I could actually view. The others I couldn't see. But I'm just going to read what they go here, and then we're going to get into the gameplay nice and swiftly. So, positioning, gun technique, strategy, and decision making, as said in the previous one. How to stay consistent, how to keep from flipping back and forth between playing strong and being slayed at every turn. Again, staying consistent. I feel like I lose my mechanics and game awareness strategy as the game progresses. I get more invested to the simplicity of winning gunfights and rushing the point to win. I get uncomfortable not moving around sometimes. I think I lose a power position from not holding the appropriate angle and making sure a teammate covers the other side. But solo queuing, you get so many mute people. Yeah, that's true. Solo queuing, you can't really control teammates, but you can do what you can do. So I'm just going to touch on that a little bit before we get into the gameplay itself. You need to be consistent in the way you're playing the game for you to perform in the game consistently. So that means you need consistent settings, consistent class setups. You need to be sat at your desk consistently or sat on the couch consistently. You need to literally be playing everything consistently. And if you're playing at different times in the day, if you're playing after a hard day at work or school, you're going to have different games. So think about what's going on outside of the gameplay itself. That works for you, and then try and make that a consistent thing, because that's how I've learned to better myself as a gamer outside of playing the game. So, kicking off the gameplay, I'm going to skip this a little bit so we don't need to see the load in. I'm using an AR on Rio, so a little bit less of an aggressive approach. We're going to be focusing on all those things you mentioned, and I'm going to turn down a little bit of music we had going on as well. Shout if you can name what Call of Duty that music was from, if you could hear it. So I like this LOS. At the end of the day, at the very start of a Rio, you sort of want to make sure every single line of sight, so middle, left, and right, are sort of covered, just to stop any sort of pinches. Now, we get a decent amount of people down. Your teammates then seem to run off the point, which I'm not sure why, but you've done a really good job of picking that up and learning that they've done that, and you decide to help out nonetheless. Now, your teammates are quite aggressively pushed up the map here, which should, in my head, if I were you, I'd be saying, okay, let me check. Yeah, let me check where they're going to be coming from. Nice, you get a nice kill there. Looking for a second. Okay, you spot them. Try and shift a little bit there. Okay, I'm not sure what that jiggly movement was. I guess it's jiggle. I guess it's an attempt to sort of jiggle peek. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on there, and you're being aggressed. You're going to be quite aggressed quite quickly there. So in my head, what I would like to have seen here: great first kill. Not sure where they are. As soon as you've checked that right hand side and you're not sure where they are, I'd definitely use a stun. Just like bounce it off this wall on the left here. It will hit like this area in front of you. It'll give you information. It'll make it easier for you to win whatever gunfight you've got. Now, when you start jiggle peeking, the jiggle doesn't quite work because you're doing it quite quickly. You're doing it quite frantically. Plus, you have an AR out. Now, I'm not saying you should put your AR away, but this jiggle peek isn't the best way to do it. You sort of more want to do it in like your left stick should be more in like a circular motion rather than a back and forth because it's a lot more smooth and you're doing it way too quickly. Plus, you can jiggle peek more effectively when you have a pistol in hand, but I know you're sort of in the action here and you don't want to use a pistol, so that's fine. Now, when you do eventually chow, a jump shot around the corner is probably not the best idea because they're going to be pre-minute. But, you know, if you hadn't died from that player, that's an unfortunate timing. I think you just took too long in that gunfight. That's the only reason you died to that player. But if you wanted to chow that first player, I don't think jumping out was the right thing to do in any case. Now, the reason for that is because they have literally just seen you there. And they've seen you, peek that corner. So when you go to challenge that again, they're going to be ready for the gunfight. They're going to be ADSing. So what you need to try and do is, as I say, use a stun, use a nade, and if all else fails, you want to drop shot to the corner. Now that it'll make you so much harder to hit. And if they are pre-aiming, you're going to be appearing where their gun is covering their screen from. And as a result, you're probably going to get a free kill. So yeah, that's just what I would do. The gun, I'd like a jump shot around the corner. But you have no momentum. You're not sprinting into it. It's a real stiff jump shot. Not the best idea. Going to turn down the volume of the gameplay a little bit. Teammates are getting a little bit leery, but it's fine. We like the passion. I'm actually going to turn up the music a little bit just so you don't hear just me. Okay, I don't really mind what's going on here. Now, I'm not sure what we've got on. We've got billeted. Now, personally, not a fan of billeted. It does feel inconsistent. I much prefer the L4R flash hider, but if it's what you're used to using, absolutely fine. So I'm going to turn the game volume up a little bit more. Okay, I think that's quite unlucky. Now, when you are in this close range gunfight, the rules are you jump shot while aiming in, or you pretty much just hip fire. So you've done a hybrid of both. Now, what happens when you hip fire and jump? Your crosshairs expand even more, meaning that your hip fire becomes even more unreliable. So you either, in this scenario, you either just strafe around them using your rotational aim assist to keep you on track and hip fire without having to, jump or anything like that. Or you simply ADS at the chest, which is sort of where you're centering. Because you're centered here, if you ADS at the chest and jumped, you'd have probably got a decent kill. But because you've decided to jump a little bit too late, they crouched for some reason. But yeah, I personally don't think you should have done the hybrid of jumping whilst hip firing. You should have at least, when you're in close range gunfights, try to do one or the other. Now, when I'm giving tips on how to engage in gunfights and how to, what techniques to use, write these down as you're going through or put them on your phone in your notes or whatever, but use them in bots before you get into a gameplay. So when you're, jump into a bot map on like Scrapyard or like a medium-sized map, nothing too small or too big, and try and use these things that I'm trying to say. So when I've just mentioned the fact that, when you're challenging someone at really close range with an MCW, you don't want to jump shot and hip fire. You want to do either or other. Try and do that in a bot lobby and see how it finds and see what has the most success with you. Trying these things out, and then in your head, when you end up getting into a rank play game and you need to use it in a real close range gunfight, you're then way more comfortable with which technique you want to use. So I've just spawned in further out here. I'm surprised we spawned in all the way back here, because if I just zoom out to what's happening here, your teammates you've just spawned, where are we? Map looks a little bit flipped for me. You spawned here and your teammates are pretty much around the hill. They look like they're that area. They're not quite here, because otherwise, they'd be closer. You'd pretty much see a couple of them. And they're not on the hill because the enemy are on the hill. So in my head, the enemy, they're here. So I would not be surprised if the enemies your teammates are killing are all spawning in this sort of corridor here. So I'd be surprised if you get out of this without having someone come out and jump you just here. So it'll be interesting to see. But even if they don't, it's always to be cautious when you are running or when you spawn here and you notice your teammates are at the back of P2, sorry, on Rio specifically. Just make sure that your boxes are cleared, because chances are they're going to come from that direction. Nice kill. Yeah, exactly what I thought. So yeah, when you get split spawns like that, it tends to mean there's enemies, lurking somewhere between. Nice use of a stun. I'd like to see a nade follow up. So we've just got, so this is massive actually. So I might be assuming this wrong, but I think we're playing with 2 teammates who are communicating with you, which is a real great opportunity to break kills quite efficiently. Now you've just thrown a stun, I believe, without it getting hit by a trophy. No. So you'll know when it gets hit by a trophy because you'll have the trophy symbol pop up on the screen as well. And the fact you've just thrown a stun and it hasn't hit a trophy tells you that you can then throw a nade and guarantee to hit damage because there's not going to be a trophy there. So at this point, I'm going to be you should be communicating to team. There's no trophies. Throw your nades, and then they'll just get an avalanche of nades hitting them. They'll be wiped off the face of the earth, and they'll be reset back in their spawn. So yeah, I'd like to see a nade thrown here. But I actually don't like this movement. You're sort of trying to play for info before you commit to a gunfight. This is pretty clean. Chase down the gunfight that you got weak. Ooh. I don't know how you've lost this. So you get 2 bullets there, maybe another couple there. Yeah, so I think they strafe with you, plus you got shot in the back by your teammate. So that's a real tough gunfight to win. Yeah, and they got all headshots on you pretty much. So a real, yeah, you slide cancelled well as well. So that's a really good use of a slide cancel. Slide cancelling to get up to a head glitch is really nice. That's fine, there's 15 seconds left. I want to see a rotation. Now, obviously, you don't even need me to tell you they're going to be spawning sort of back here. Oh, change colour again. They're going to be spawning sort of back here for P2 when this is live. And as you've just spawned back here, where are they going to be coming from? So the chances of them coming from P2 are possible. So you want to have someone sort of in boxes picking up this area here, or even just lingering back here, watching this whole cross. You also, so that would be that line of sight covered. You also want someone middle. So even if you have an AR, what I really like to do is if you get to the rotation early, and I think you are early enough, is I like to just sit in you. And from here, you can sort of, oh, that's an awful line. You can sort of watch their cross from P1 to their spawn, like in P1 from their spawn. And then, if you're not seeing much, you can then, look out of bridge and see if anyone's coming from that way. But in any sense, you sort of want to cut off the map a little bit here. Now, you won't be, when you are in you, and even if you're like the other side of the vending machine just here, you're not going to be too far pushed up for them to flip over to this spawn. So it's a real nice spot to sit, especially if you can rotate early. You may as well try and make up that ground and try and get up that space early on rather than waiting. Okay. So, yeah, this is a real tough situation. So what happens here? So this is what's going through my head. I've just noticed my teammate has died. And I'm looking at the kill feed, and you can see instantly they have a rival 9, which means that close range engagements, you're going to want to avoid. At the end of the day, you're not going to win. Or you could win, but the chances are slim. You want to make sure the chances are in your favor, The probability is on your side. And as a result, if they've got a sub, you just want to try and hold a pre-aim. That's all you can do. So I'd have backed up to sort of the arcade bit here and pre-aimed them jumping onto the point. Because at the point, they're in the stairs, they're in zig. They're not going to be on the point yet. They're not an immediate threat. And the worry with pushing up to them closely is that they're just going to have a better gun at close range and they're just going to delete you. So I'd have moved to arcade and maybe hold a pre-aim and just play a little bit more patiently with an AR, especially considering you're challenging a sub. Now, if they did also have an AR and my teammate was communicating that they're weak, I'd have probably chowed it, although I'd have probably used a pistol just because it's a little bit more maneuverable. But it depends how comfortable you are with the pistol. But yeah, the fact is then an SMG, in my head, I would have completely avoided that gunfight if I could. Unfortunately, we've flipped. Now, what I would have... Because... personally, these back spawns back here are favourable for both P3 and P4. So I would always try, especially considering there's a whole minute left nearly on P3, I'd try and flip the spawns and then get to P3 rather than just hitting it from the front. Because what happens if you just keep, you hit 3p1, you keep hitting it from the front, you keep spawning back here, left, like every single time, well, maybe back here, you're not getting great time here, but you also lose bad spawns for P4. However, if you give them maybe 10, 15 seconds of this time, you take time to rotate around the back, get the spawns, and then pinch from this side, and you've guaranteed these spawns, there's maybe 30 seconds you win on P3, so that's fine. You win half of P3. But then when it goes into P4, you've actually got the better spawns for P4, meaning that you can then guarantee even more time when it comes to P4. So you've always got to think steps ahead, really. But yeah, in short, if there's a minute left of a hill, just try and get the spawns rather than hitting it flat out. So we're going to see what approach we take here. I don't mind this. It's a little slow for my liking. We want to see a little bit of movement up the map. Nice two-piece. Yeah, you got traded. That's unlucky. Hopefully teammates can help you out there. We took a little bit too long to engage there because there's now 30 seconds left, 20 seconds left, and we haven't even challenged this hill properly yet. Two nice gunfights. Ooh, unfortunate. Now, the only thing I'm going to criticize about this whole situation is that you probably should have rotated to the new hill, but you put a lot of pressure on, and I don't necessarily mind it if you just stayed alive, but you know what, you got a couple two pieces and you eventually fell. Nice turn on, but I want to see you get straight forward looking where you need to be. Now, you could have read another player there, and the reason for that is because you could just see your teammates spawn the other side of P3. They've actually somehow just gifted you decent spawns, but I imagine it's because one of their team, pushed through a little bit here. Yeah, once you should have read someone behind you just because your teammates spawn the other side, but that's fine. Okay, we're still spawning awfully. I hate this spawn, which is why I said you want to try and get spawns for P3 and then P4 afterwards. So there's a stun and a nade in your back pocket. Let's use them. So simple to do, so easy. It takes little skill. Throw them at the hill. If it doesn't get anyone, great. You die, you get them again. If it does get people, even better. Okay, so I'm just focusing on those gunfights there. So on this, I'm gonna go for a couple here. On this gunfight here, your movement, you're very much relying on your right stick to aim, whereas if you move your left stick, you'll strafe, and then your aim assist will kick in, and then it'll be easier to lock onto people. And then you can also make much better micro adjustments when you're aiming, whereas when you're just using the right stick, it can be a little bit left to right and left and right. Yeah, that's tough. And they've used a nade and got a kill. Good from them. Okay, so we've finally decided to rotate to the new hill. Now, nice damage out. And you're still spawning this side. Now, yeah, okay, your teammates are still spawning there. It's not too much of a worry. Don't give up too much map control here. Let your teammates pick that up. You get to the hill, let your teammates... Oh, okay. Nice, so you must have been aware there was someone there. Yeah. When you're trying taking gunfights on, you always want to try and make sure that you're covered from the side you're not taking the gunfight on, so you're a little bit defended. So, yeah, small adjustment to move yourself a little bit further in front of this back of the vehicle. You'd have probably not died there, so just a small thing. Every time you're taking a gunfight on, think, okay, where else am I open to, and try and reduce the amount of things you're open to. Okay, so spawn back yellow. Big kill. That's it, and all you're trying to do now is look over your teammates. Oh, that's a rogue push. I would not have read that, but it's okay. Your teammates were close enough to trade you out. There's only 20 seconds left. Teammates getting killed still. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. I like what you're doing here, though. You're rotating to the new hill. You're getting a trophy ready, so you're defended well. And yeah, you're not sure where they're coming from. You're using your stuns. Great. Let's see a nade throw. I don't know if your right bumper or something is broken, and as a result, or you're R1, and as a result, you're not throwing it. But I haven't seen many frags thrown. Okay, I don't mind this pickup, although the chances of them coming this way are slim, because
there's no reason for them to. But I also don't mind it because you're getting spawns for P2. So this is really nice. You're being really annoying, and what they're going to be doing in their head is they're going to be saying, oh shit, there's someone P2. We need to sort of focus on this guy and then get to the hill. And you're being a real nuisance, and it hopefully makes the job of P1 easier for your teammates. Alright, so your R1 does work. Okay, so you got some kills and you realise your teammates need a little bit of help at the time. Nice. But you know where they're spawning from your right. You know they're spawning here, so you should have probably been a little bit more aware that they'd have been coming from that direction. Okay, you've spawned in, you've realised how little time is left of the current hill, and you decided to rotate, or at least put pressure on the rotation, so thumbs up for that. Nice, that guy trolled. They could have stayed on there and won that gunfight, but that's fine. You held your own. Okay, I don't know if your sense... Yeah, your sense is a weird one. Yeah. The read of them spawning behind you could have been done just from where your teammates were sat. They were pushed quite deep into the P2 spawns. Plus this hill, you get a lot of split spawns, so it's very... You got to, try and trick, check things more than you would normally on normal maps. Okay, this is nice. So we're cutting spawns for new. No, don't give up map control. You've just given up so much map control. So this goes back to the diagram I showed on the first P3, where you could have held the P1 cut. You've just, essentially what you've done now is the gunfights you're going to take defending P3 are going to be on the point rather than ahead of the point, so your line of defense is taking a step back. But yeah, you've moved back to a decent position. Nice, this is perfect. Nice, and go back to that spot. Go back to where you were cutting them off. Oh, this works. I mean, as long as you hold this pre-aim. Yep, stun nade. I like that. Let your teammates deal with people on time. Don't be distracted by that. Just focus on what you need to focus on. If they lose the gunfights in their hill, it's up to them. You've at least got the cut from P1, or you did have. Yeah, that's tough. Okay, so I'm going to break that down a little bit. So you're watching this angle here, and from this angle, you have literally... They can't get across anywhere. So you've got, I can't draw a straight line on this, but you've got that angle, meaning they can't come through middle, they can't come through this side. So all they're able to do is get through boxes, or maybe through the spawn like that. So you being here, watching the line of sight through the cut, means that all the teammates need to watch is boxes, pretty much. The fact you leave this, and it basically means that they're not going to deal with a horde of enemies at a time, because the enemy team can only come from one direction, and then the chances of every single one of the enemy team running in that same direction is very, very slim. So what I'm trying to say is, if you've got teammates on the hill and all they have to watch is one little area, don't be put off by the fact there's contesting on the hill, because what that's done then, it's allowed that enemy there, get you weak. They've then just progressed straight to the hill. They've not chased you. They've just gone to the hill. They've killed your teammate, and now they get time. You need to hold that position and be a little bit more patient, and trust your teammates to get their kills. At the end of the day, picking off, losing the line of sight through bridge and picking up the contesting hill has actually lost you that hill, because it allowed that enemy to push bridge and get through quite easily. Your teammates aren't happy about stair glitches, but I can't blame them. All right, 10 seconds left. Let's see a road to new. Hopefully your teammates join you. Nope, your teammates just spawned in. It's not the guy in your party, but the teammates just spawned in and they've run P1. Love to see it. Nice, I don't mind that. So you haven't committed fully to the hill because you're not sure about the enemy presence, so that's an underrated play there. But now you know the hill's got nobody on it. You're pushing through. No, you can push through. Allow your teammates to get on the hill. Okay, this is also fine, I guess. And your teammates picked up the 4 list anyway. So your initial instinct to push through, I actually really liked. So what you'd have done, you'd have probably pushed through to garage and, you know, watched that line of sight. And you did have a teammate who was lingering here who, had you have just gotten off the hill, they'd have probably just sat on the hill anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that. That would have been a nice play. You might have thought it's a little bit selfish, but actually that's what I would have done. But instead, what you've done, you've decided to stay on the point, and your teammates decided to pick up forklift anyway up here. So I don't mind it. It's the same things are being held. It's just you've got to play for you a little bit sometimes. So it's hard to see what your teammates are watching because the colour's really green. So you've got a teammate who's sort of ramp and a teammate who's RV. Yeah, so nothing's being watched really. Personally, I would have positioned myself so I had at least cover from somewhere. You've just killed the teammate, the enemy team who's pushed behind. So I'd have, at this point, you have no position. So you've just got a kill. You're on the hill and you have absolutely zero cover. You can be shot from, you know, behind. If they come from garage, I mean, you're going to get killed because you've got no cover. If they shout from boxes, again, you have no cover from there. So yeah, if you're on the hill, at least hug the van or something, or just get off the hill because that's left you really open. Your teammates actually aren't watching things they're meant to, and as a result, you've just, you know, been plucked off the hill. But nice comeback so far. You're now only 60 points behind, give or take a few seconds. Big 2-piece from your random teammate, and this is a nice pickup. Nice to hear you saying you have to rotate. Good comms for you. Okay, you've been stunned, so the enemy know you're there. And they're stair glitching. Throw a nade. The best thing to do when they're stair glitching in a situation is to, one, leave them be until you can, you know, your teammates can come from top and, you know, just pick off the people around them because they will chow. If you're shooting, you know, other people from their team are going to chow you from top bridge or they're going to chow you at stairs. So just leave that player and just fight around the hill and allow your teammates with the subs to get on the hill and defeat that person. Or take some cover, cook up a nade, throw it at them. You know, it's that simple. And they might have a trophy, but even if they do have a trophy, it will still damage them. But yeah, you don't ever want to take a one-on-one gunfight with someone stair glitching. It's super easy for you to die. And another thing you could do to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage over stair glitches is to get height. The higher you are on the map to the stair glitcher, the more of their back you can see and the more of their legs you can see behind the stair glitch. So if you've, you know, say it's, even if there weren't any enemies that you need to be aware of, get on top of the RV and just shoot down on them. And you get a little bit more of a better vision onto where they could be coming from. But yeah, we fall there. We swarm back yellow. And yeah, I don't mind this help. You've currently got no one helping your teammate on the hill watching front, so you decide to pick that up with them. Nice. There's a lot of running backwards I'm seeing, which isn't ideal because you give up a little bit of map control here. Streaks coming in, it can kill you through P1 windows, but as long as you stay separate from your teammate, it'll only kill one of you, which is done nicely. Good help for your team there. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think you saw him. Just watch this area here. Head randomly appears, just like so. We don't quite see him, and we just get picked off. That's unfortunate. Okay, we're still spawning yellow. We're now only 30 points down. This is looking really good going to P1. Let's see some stuns and nades to just deter them from their push off of spawn. You've got the trophy down. You get the trade on your teammate. Fortunately, you get picked off from you. So, frustratingly, this was the time where they had silencers. So the guy who's shooting at you, who's just killed your teammate, who eventually kills you in a second, has a silencer. So you have no idea that you need to check there. I can hear someone shooting there, and your teammates clearly died from somebody. And it wasn't this player because you can literally see them not looking that way. So you should have probably been a little bit aware there. But the fact that you've just killed that player and it's still contested means you probably should have been a little bit aware anyway. And just throw a nade, mate, honestly. A pro or a coach, I can't remember, once said that you should never really die with a nade and stun in your back pocket.
for the reasons I'm sort of trying to. Nice. Nice kill. You're quite indecisive, I think. There's a lot of times where you go to do something and you change your mind. But I think it's because your teammates are quite erratic. Okay, your teammates push through. You've got to assume they're coming from your right here. Yeah, yeah, nice. Okay, that's fine. Now, again, we're putting ourselves in a real position here where we've got to be maneuverable with an AR. So these angles you're deciding to play to pick up stairs and pick up eskies are really tight, and with an MCW it's going to be really hard to do things properly. If you are trying to defend this right hand side here, like either the zig stairs or the escalators here, you can sit on top of this bench. It's a real cruddy off angle people don't usually check, especially in these ranks. You'll be fine. Literally sit here and hold a pre-aim between the stairs and the eskies, and you're probably just going to get these 2 kills for absolutely free. Just a spot, which is worth noting. But at the end of the day, the logic in it is you've got an MCW, not a rival. You need to play a longer distance line of sight rather than just stuff like this, because it does leave you really open to just getting absolutely deleted by a rival, which kills so quickly at close. Okay, there's 5 seconds left, and we're moving to P2, and this might be the comeback of dreams, ladies and gents. Okay, nice kill there. We did stun someone police car, so I'm hoping we've realised that there's someone else there. Throwing a nade at your teammate, I don't mind that. And we've currently got, yeah. Not sure where your teammate Gate is going, then definitely not going to be spawning there, but that's fine. I don't mind the angle you're holding here. You're not quite on the hill, but you're at least using the cover behind you, and you are wiggling. You are getting the information you need. Nice. Get shit on a herd. Love that. Nice, you're frying right now. Don't worry about behind you. Your teammates will just spawn there. Just focus on front. There are 2 ways you need to watch. Ramp and the hop up on the left. And that's the dub. What a comeback. Okay, so there's definitely a lot to learn. I know we got a really good... I think we go 28 and 20. I did skip at the end at the beginning. Yeah, 28 and 20. We do get the dub. A massive comeback there against a diamond player too. Obviously, there's things we can pick up on and try and improve upon. So, what are those things? Oh, YouTube's lagging out. There we go. Okay, so first things first. I want you to sort your settings out. 100% sort your settings out. I'm going to drop my settings video down below in the description and copy them, apart from like the personal things like sensitivity. In like I play on a 7.7, you obviously don't want to play 7.7. Your ADS sensitivity and your dead zones will be different. So keep those the same, but the actual settings other than those, you do want to try and check that you've got them right. So yeah, that's number 1. And number 2, obviously keep your settings consistent once you've changed them, as well as your class setup. The loadout for the pros hasn't changed since season 2 or 1. There was a massive stock people used to use, but in any case, try and keep them the same. Every time you change your class, you're going to have to relearn how to use it, and the ability for you to hit your skill ceiling just drops down again, because you've just got to learn something new yet again. The second thing I'm going to say is when you are in specific gunfights, you need to try and play for the gun you've got. There were so many situations here where you've died because you're using a MCW in a situation where you'd have been better off using a rival, or at least you're going to come against a rival and you just die. So every time you're holding an area here, think, okay, am I too close? Should I be using a rival in this position over an MCW? And if that's the answer, you want to try and extend that line of sight a little bit further. Yeah, and the obvious thing I'm going to say, and I've said this to a lot of guys who I've reviewed, use your stuns and nades. It's free damage, free info, and you get them again for free the next life. So it's definitely worth doing. It's a much easier way to break hills. So yeah, they're my 3 things. Obviously, there's tons of things I've mentioned. There's absolutely tons of things I mentioned, but generally speaking, just rules of thumb that I like to use when I'm in gunfights. Jump shot him. You want to do it when you've got momentum and you can, jump around a corner when they're sort of expecting you there, or you want to get a little bit of height. But you need that momentum to jump around the corner properly, otherwise it's just going to be a little bit of a rubbish hop. Slide cancel, not necessarily around corners, because cameraing people is quite difficult nowadays, especially if you're playing PC players and you're on console.
but use slide cancels to get to a head glitch, and then you suddenly get a head glitch and you can beam people. And your snaking seems pretty good. Yeah, and then drop strike around corners as well is really good when you know you're already being pre-aimed. So try and implement that, jump into the bot lobby and try and do some of those things. And of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, you can leave a comment down below or message me on Discord or Twitter. I try and answer everything on there. So yeah, more than welcome to. And yeah, potential rank. Now, you said you've hit Plat 3 in this season. Now, I've definitely seen diamonds with worse technical ability. So when I say technical ability, I mean shooting and moving. You do tweak a lot when there's teammates need help, and you need to be much more selfish and go, okay, I'm watching this angle. If you die from somewhere else, that's not my fault. I'm going to watch my angle. I can guarantee you kills at my angle. That's what you need to do a little bit more. And if you do that and you tweak a little bit less, and you just trust yourself in your judgments, you will be a better player, and I can definitely see you hitting that diamond rank. I don't think we're quite there to hit diamond 2 or 3, but definitely I can see you scraping into diamond 1. But who knows? Black Ops 6 is a new game. It'll be interesting to see how we perform on there. And yeah, appreciate you submitting the video. For those of you who also want to submit a video, you can do so down in the link below. If you want it to be prioritized, you can become a channel member, which you can find on my channel. I will leave a link to that down in the description too. But yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.